America is therefore the land of the future, where in the ages that lie before us, the burden of the world's history shall reveal itself. Georg Wilhelm Friedrich Hegel. Good evening. Tonight is Friday, which is political talk. Pretty much you could come in and talk about whatever, really. It's almost like an open topic, but, kind of want to direct it somewhere at least. And even though if I do open topics, some people don't come in. So I do know people who really like talking about politics. So surely, if you're there, you're one of them. So today I am going to just kind of cover a little bit of what am I covering? Oh yeah, Ruth Bader Ginsberg and David Koch. I don't know how to say his name. All right, so come on in if you want. Basically, again, there was a predictive programming on, of course, on The Simpsons, where Ruth Bader Ginsberg is dead. So if you watch the video, you'll notice that there was a news article that appeared where Ruth Bader Ginsberg, they already had headlines that she was dead. And it's like, oops, really? Let's see. Okay, so here is the video in question, where someone's watching it.
Okay, guys, are you serious? I'm having coffee. It's Fox and Friends is on, and then one of the most creepiest things ever comes on the screen. Check this out.
I'm gonna roll this back. I was sitting in my chair drinking coffee. There. Okay. Now watch this. This is Fox News in the morning, Fox and Friends.
Where is that Professor Joshua Dunn, who teaches?
Let's go back. Who in the world would do this? Okay, the commercial will end right here. Fox and Friends comes back on. I'm sitting here and all of a sudden, Ruth Bader Ginsberg, with it looks like her birth and death, as if she died. Look, why?
So recently, Ruth Bader Ginsberg was treated for a tumor on the pancreas. Let me just go ahead and refresh it. And here, how about we do CNN? We know how CNN is very, very, yeah. Okay. Here's my thing. A way to convince a lot of voters from one side of the spectrum to the other is to have a Supreme Court justice pass away before the presidential election cycle, because the president gets to choose a Supreme Court justice nominee. In 2016, guess who died by some weird circumstances, right? Was it Scalia? Oh, come on. Right. He died. Let's see. How did he die? Natural causes. What? Oh, yeah. So yeah, some weird stuff happens, but of course, Justice Antonin Scalia ended up passing away during the 2016 election cycle. And that pretty much, I mean, if it's a more of a conservative Supreme Court justice, because they made sure that there's an I don't know, for the last couple of decades, that there's an odd number of Supreme Court justices. And hold on, my says, if we're not careful, we're going to turn into a theocracy. Then we'd be no better than SA South Africa. Or Saudi Arabia. Okay. So the conservative people on the right, they go, whoa, you know, we got to make sure we've got someone who's conservative that gets elected into the Supreme Court. Or not elected, I'm sorry. They don't get elected. Chosen. So they want to make sure that the president that gets elected for that presidential cycle, for that presidential election, is going to be a Republican. Same thing on the left. So if Ruth Bader Ginsburg passes away in 2019 or early 2020, what's going to happen? Oh no, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, you know, liberal icon. We need a woman, nonetheless. We're going to have to vote in a Democratic president so Donald Trump doesn't choose another conservative Supreme Court justice, and we need to make sure that the Supreme Court justice we pick is another woman, etc., and a liberal on the left, and all this other stuff. So it's just another ammunition, fuel to the fire. I just think it's funny that they've kind of almost called it out in a way. I guess they knew she had cancer or something, pancreatic cancer, a tumor. And I guess she's being treated for it, but maybe it's gonna be pretty bad. And so they go ahead and go, hey, let's do that. I don't know. I have a feeling though that Ruth Bader Ginsburg is going to pass away before the 2020 presidential general election, and it's going to be a major issue to get a Democrat, not necessarily a progressive or independent, but a Democrat elected so that they can get someone they want to be in the Supreme Court and not have it chosen by a Republican or Donald Trump. Now, another interesting thing that happened is David Koch. I can't say that name. David Cook? Mia. Mia, house calls. Well, yeah. You know, you can call me if you want to talk. Plus, you can join in if you call in Mia with the phone. That works too. We haven't talked in a while. Hi Shirley, how's it going? So it's interesting that the no more billionaire funding by David Koch. Gosh, I wish I don't. How do you pronounce his name? His last name. And it seems like his nephew or something is inheriting most of it or something, and that he's going to stray away from politics, but still his brother is still in it. It's funny how the left wing mocks the right wing billionaires that influence politics. Yet they've got a lot of left wing billionaires. I wouldn't even call them left wing. I'm sorry, the opposing side of the same dialectic, and that's why I chose Georg Hegel as my quote of the day. To it's that funny hypocrisy. Except you can't see it. If you're on one side or the other, you've got these blindfolds on, just like a horse. You're not going to see anything except where they point you to look at. But of course, if you're on the outside looking in, you're going to just see how easily how each side takes a hypocritical stance. All right. Hey, Bob. How's it going? Excuse me. I've been burping a lot lately. I wonder if it's the coffee. Okay, so 2020, the election is cycling up to be very, very interesting. And you guys know, many of you guys know, I'm already predicting from 2 years ago that Hillary Clinton is going to run in 2020 and she's going to be the Democratic nominee and she's going to win and become the president, not by legitimate means, but she's going to be the next president. And very few people seem to be saying that, but I do know H.A. Goodman keeps saying that. There are actually 2 or 3 other political pundits that are also saying it. And I think it's going to happen. Oh, I just got bit. So just expect that. It's I don't think, I mean, the death of Ruth Bader Ginsburg before the 2020 general election is going to fuel up one side, and the Democratic side, let's just say that, to vote for the Democratic nominee. And it doesn't matter who it is, well, it does. To them, they're just gonna go with whoever the mainstream media tells them to go with. And right now they're saying it's Joe Biden. They're not saying it's gonna be anyone else. Pretty much it's gonna be Joe Biden. But Joe Biden, it's not realistic. So they're gonna have to put in someone else. And if it's another woman, I think they're gonna go, well, this woman isn't qualified enough. We had a woman who won, and but it was the popular vote and all this other stuff. And Hillary Clinton's getting pretty fired up, I guess. You just see so much news articles on Hillary Clinton as opposed to Donald Trump. I'm sure Trump should have a lot. Wow, Donald Trump gets like 1.3 billion. Okay, give me a second. Let me hide the Zoom. Hi.
Hi.
How's it going, Mia?
Hi.
What's on your thoughts? Oops, got the wrong thing.
It's Koch brothers. It's like a Coke can, Coca-Cola.
Oh, Coke. Oh, okay.
The Coke. I said Cook, but I meant Coke.
Okay.
I can't type tonight.
Okay, that's good. I don't have to say cock all night. And Cook just didn't seem correct. So Coke. All right. Koch brothers. I guess I don't listen to as much mainstream media to find out how you pronounce his name.
Well, see, they're down here, Georgia Pacific. Yeah, and the Tyson Chicken. Yeah, they're all down here in the South.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm pretty familiar with them.
What are your thoughts on billionaires, whether it's like who's that guy? No, billionaires, whether it's on the left or the right, influencing politics. What are your thoughts on that?
I think they're all screwed up. I think you lose empathy when you get that rich. When you got that much money, you don't have to worry about anybody else.
Yeah.
It don't matter. And that's what's so sad. I said this last time we talked. I feel like we have got some master puppeteers that keeps us fighting amongst ourselves.
Yep.
Punching left, punching right, punching down.
Everywhere but up.
We're not. Exactly. You know, I mean, I'm in a different generation, right? I'm in my 50s, and I would feel probably a lot like the younger generations do right now. You know, we've had for 40 years. I've witnessed it. I mean, we're down to 2 white rhinos right now on the planet, and I've seen that happen in my lifetime. I've never seen so much greed and extraction from the one planet that we do have.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's the Koch brothers, and it's, you know, all these major corporations that, you know, down here, look, today our governor down here just announced that the U.S. Department of Education has allotted Alabama with $26 million for charter schools.
Yeah.
Now, you know, Alabama's like number 49 or 50 on the education scale, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So I did my little research because, you know, I'm an atheist, right? And I did my little research, and it took me almost 45 minutes to find it. But I finally found it. Clergy. They're working with the clergy.
Yeah. Oh, something.
And
go ahead. Sorry.
that, to me, is unconstitutional.
Yeah, I think so. I had something I was gonna bring up, but I think I'm gonna save it for another topic for another day. But
Right.
I mean, it all ties in together, right? Everything that we just see that just seems shady, it all ties in together.
That's why we hope Ruth Bader Ginsburg holds on there. Hang in there, Ruth. Hang in there, baby. I don't trust Trump with a piece of toilet paper.
Do you trust Hillary Clinton? If she gets...
Oh, hell no.
Yeah.
Hell no. Hopefully this, you know, there's enough. I don't know if it's going to happen like 2016 again. If it does, I think the shit's going to hit the fan. Thanks to, you know, I just got off of Susie Dawson's. Did you see she had a new?
I saw a pop up for that, but I didn't watch it.
Yeah, I watched it, and it's people like her, Julian Assange, Chelsea Manning, that has exposed all of that shit. Thank you, WikiLeaks.
Mm-hmm.
And we can't forget that. I mean, I just, I don't know. It's got me. And, you know, I thought about you because it got cut out again in the stream, and it just ain't the same without you. I'm telling you. I don't know, man. You know. I know it's hard.
Yeah. Anyways, back to the topic. So one thing I was Sorry, Mia. I'm segueing this conversation. All right. So one thing I've been following has been a lot of states that have passed laws where if basically that if a candidate loses the electoral college vote but has the popular vote, that the electoral vote points go to the person who won the national vote, the popular vote, sorry. So there are 16 states that have passed this law since 2016, and this article by WSB TV, which is Cox Media Group National Content Desk by Debbie Lord, was updated today, August 23rd, 2019 at 7:08 p.m. And I think there's a couple more states where if they do pass laws similar to these 16 states have, it's a collective 270 electoral votes. It's enough for whoever has the popular vote to get elected, rather than the person who won by the electoral college votes. So it's going to basically be the national, the popular vote that gets next president elected. So there's been a lot of changes in a couple of years, and this seems to point towards, let's get Hillary Clinton again. She won the popular vote before, and now if she gets the popular vote in 2020, she becomes president. What are your thoughts on that? What do you think? Do you like the idea?
I think it's all manipulated. I look at what the polls, and it's just they pick the polls. They're making it. I've never seen an election done like it's happening. I really haven't. Bernie's got the most popular vote. I mean, he's got the popular right now. Everywhere you go, he's filling it up. Every single place he goes.
Mm-hmm.
But yet, he's scaring the shit out of these suckers. So, it's going to be an interesting. I think I got my yellow vest ready. I got my Corps of Engineers one. I'll wear it.
I think I got a yellow vest too. I'll meet you out there. Yeah.
Yeah, honey, I'm going to be on the damn Edmund Pettus Bridge. Shirley, come on. Come on.
We need something
they
more.
Ain't gonna get.
We need yellow vests and I don't know, green hats or something. just something to add on to it.
I don't know. I think it's a damn shame. It really is that, and it's all by design, baby. I mean, they are masters at what they're doing. I mean,
mm-hmm. They've been doing it for so long. It's pretty much been perfected.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They've been planning this for a long time. Did you read Whitney Webb's? Have you heard her stuff about Epstein? Have you read her articles about... Oh, my God, I needed a shower after I read it today.
Was this recently?
Oh, yeah. She's been calling out... everything about Epstein. I mean, she's got there's 4 parts to it out of Mint Press News.
Okay.
And she goes all about the Clintons and Iran-Contra, and then, look, Bill Clinton brought in some really good cocaine in the 80s. I can attest to that. She even said she talked about that too. I mean, and then it went to, they've been so corrupt. I mean, and it goes in with the mob and the Mossad. I mean, it's just the government and the mob has gotten together and they're running it. And we're just these sheep that are just doing it. So it's people like you and I and Susie Dawson and Shirley Vick that gets on here and talks and says, this is corrupt that scares them.
Not
And
yet.
that's why it's being... Look, if they cut that stream tonight, they cut her stream. They cut her stream and they cut her funding page.
I thought her funding page was all through Bitcoin.
It was at 404. They were even trying to donate during the event, during the stream, and it was getting an error, a 404 error.
Okay.
Yeah, down for maintenance. Bastard. Yeah.
I mean,
it could be coincidental, but I ain't putting nothing past nobody no more.
yeah, too many coincidences. Yeah. I mean, it could be bandwidth issues because I saw it was through a website. So I think if they're doing a live stream through their website, they're going to need enough bandwidth the more people who view the video. But then again, it's pretty easy to
we were on YouTube.
Oh, it's on YouTube. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah, I think her donate page is through her website.
Okay. Yeah, then yeah.
But she was streaming on YouTube and Periscope and stuff.
Yeah, 404 on YouTube, that's a little weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's yeah. Okay. I won't attribute that to error. I mean, human error maybe. I mean, not yeah, never mind. Not likely a tech issue. It's more likely something screwy going on. But
yeah, that's her, Whitney Webb. Yeah.
Were they talking about Whitney Webb or something? Oh, this article came out today. Or wait.
Yeah, I'm telling you, you're going to need a shower. You're going to need a shower. I couldn't watch the video parts of it. I couldn't do it. I felt slimy.
Yeah.
It is disgusting.
So something similar that I've been following lately it is have you ever heard about Mary Fagan? She was a 13-year-old back in the early 1900s who was raped and either choked to death or hung. And so first they accused a black person who worked there as the one who did it, but then that led up to him actually being told what to do as a witness by the actual person who raped the girl and killed her. His name was Frank Leo Frank, I think. Yeah, Leo Frank. He was a Jewish superintendent.
Where was this, Evan?
This was
where was this?
Somewhere in Georgia, I think.
Oh.
Yeah. There's a couple of videos that people could look at, but that's kind of what spurred on the ADL, the Anti-Defamation League, by a lot of Jewish organizations, and that also sprung up the Ku Klux Klan. But basically, they had a lot of testimonies by women who worked there, girls who worked there, like ages pretty young girls, definitely under 18, and they all gave accounts on how this Leo Frank was just touching them inappropriately and things like that. And you could go to a website. There's this one lady who's a grandniece of Mary and Mary Fagan, and you can read up a lot of the stuff there. And there's been a big push by a lot of groups, especially Jewish groups, to exonerate Leo Frank. They already had it sometime in the 80s or 90s to have him not exonerated, but something else. But recently, they're trying to get him exonerated, and it's a lot of Jewish groups. And if you the thing is, there's only one person really defending the entire story, and just looking at the testimonies and, you know, the entire trial. I mean, there's like 13 trials or some crazy amounts, because they just kept on pushing it, the defendant to move it to a different type of court. But her results have always been the same. And so now, like, it's funny because the Anti-Defamation League, because it's anti-Semitic, is saying, oh, let's blame the black guy. You know, the black guy did it, not the Jewish guy. And when you look back in the testimony, you hear not hear, but it's written an account where Leo Frank is calling him the N-word, that they're the ones that and also the prosecutors, like, they're the ones that do this raping and killing stuff, not white people type of thing. So so all of this, there's a big push to get him exonerated, and it's like, why is it so important, you know? And most likely, if you look at the evidence and the testimonies and all that stuff, it definitely pretty much points to guilt. And even there's Leo Frank's wife, I think, at the end of all that, when she, I'm not sure if she divorced or what, but yeah, she was like, yeah, she didn't support or believe Leo Frank. It's crazy. I think they made a movie.
So,
oh, go ahead.
So Leo Frank was the white guy that they say did it?
The Jewish guy, yeah. That like, the courts found him guilty. He was gonna hang, but the governor called in at that time and changed it to life in prison. And then a couple people from the town of Mary Fagan's town lynched Leo Frank from the prison, and then they hung him. So there's been,
really,
there's been books. There's even been like certain directors and writers, like David Mamet wrote a really obscure book on it from the point of view of Leo Frank, and how saying he was innocent and how he's being treated. So it's like very propaganda piece. And of course, you know, it's like all the Jews are uniting together. It doesn't, like but it's funny because Jeffrey Epstein, he's Jewish. I wonder if they're just gonna exonerate him later in the future anyway, saying, oh no, he wasn't a pedophile. This is all concocted by the right and Donald Trump, etc.
Oh no! These girls are going after his estate.
Yeah, I know, but I think they're not going to.
Yeah,
I think, unfortunately.
I don't know.
They're not gonna. I mean,
I think. They're suing it civilly now, so it's in civil court. It's not in criminal court because, you know, he's gone. Conveniently. But, you know, it's just skanky. I mean, the whole thing is, that's what I'm saying. You got, anybody that would want, there's only been a couple of people that have gone into politics. I mean, I've told you before, I never liked politics. I just, you know, and that might have been part of my problem. I just didn't pay attention to it because I was too busy living, you know, trying to survive. And that's probably by design, but you got to be narcissistic to really go into politics. You got to have a sense of oneself. You got to be a little bit selfish, I think, to go into politics.
Or I wonder if certain people are told to run, and remember when it used to be called public service, you know, because it's a public office, and
right.
I mean, because if you think about it, who wants to work for the public and spend all their day going to meetings, talking to constituents and stuff, talking to ordinary people, holding town halls, all this other stuff. When you could just
raising money's a lot of it now, though.
oh yeah, raising money. Some people, some of the times, especially if it's local, going door to door, having junkets and press conferences and all this other stuff. Like for me, I would rather go fishing. Like, get me a decent wage on my lunch break. I could,
no doubt.
have a gone fishing sign coming back, and I'm okay with that. But like, it just seems like a lot of work to be a politician. But I don't think a lot.
We
of
don't
these
need
people,
them anymore. We don't need them anymore. We really don't.
Yeah, we don't.
We've got the internet now. Everybody's got those smartphones. You could put an issue up and everybody vote on their damn phone. You got IP addresses. It's just, the will to want to change it, and they don't. They don't want to change the system. It's a good gig if you can get it.
Yeah. I mean,
hello. Obama just bought him like a $50 million estate up there in the Hamptons somewhere.
I tell people, when people say no, we're not ready yet, and I go, what do you mean we're not ready yet? We have a lot of things that work where it can be tracked, and it's a paper trail. It's a digital trail, but it's basically like a paper trail, and people have private information or emails. They have a majority of people have banking online. So if it's not a security issue, it's like you said,
no,
it's the way
way
things are, works for the people in power. So why make it so it's harder for them to pull all of their chicanery, Chicanery. I wanted to use that word for so long.
It'll eventually happen. It's attrition. These old fogies have got to die. They just got to die. So we got one down today. One's gone. For it to change, because they're going to hold on just as tight as they can with it. It's sickening. But it's pitiful. I mean, if you, like I said, greed is just an ugly attribute, and these Christians down here love it. They're all about them Koch brothers. They're all about it. Let's build some more OSB.
Mm-hmm.
Coal, timber, and cars. That's what Alabama's good for. Oh, and we're going to put the first woman on the moon. We're working on that too down here in Von Braun Center.
You guys are working at the on Project Artemis?
ULA. Yeah, ULA, yep.
Okay.
Down here in Hunts Patch. It's called Hunts Patch. Huntsville.
Well, you know my thoughts on that. The first woman's gonna go, Devon. Come on, I know.
Woo! Let's see if we can get can we get a ticket? Let's see if we can get a ticket to go.
So I'll go with you. Do you
All right, let's go. Back at lunch.
So I predicted that because they're sending a man back to the moon as well. A woman, it will be the first woman and another man. But I think the man is going to die, or quote unquote die.
Why? Why do you think that?
Well, I did a video on it before, but Artemis, the Greek goddess, anytime a man was involved with her, always had an ill fate, and
oh, stop it!
No, that's just one part, but also the NASA and everyone who's just pushing the narrative of space and stuff. They're pushing out about how dangerous it is to go into space, especially going to the moon. And they probably say it's just as dangerous going to Mars, except we went to the moon multiple times. There's been 24 people who've been close to the moon, 12 of them that orbited and 12 of them that actually landed and walked on the moon. and no one's died en route to the moon and coming back from the moon. There's been mishaps. There's been people, of course, that are in rockets that crash going into low Earth orbit and out of it. But on the way to the moon and on the way back, where you've got the radiation belt and you've got, just a whole bunch of intangibles that have to be calculated to be handled. I mean, it's been too safe. Everyone that's gone has came back alive, so they need something to happen to make it seem that it's going to be too dangerous. That way, instead of sending people up to the moon and to Mars, they're going to send probes and droids and AI and etc. And so we will get to go.
India, or who was it that they're going to get there, like, they just sent some up there. What did I see? We're not the only ones going there.
Yeah, I know. China's a big leader, even though
I thought it was India.
Yeah, India's going, Israel's going. A lot of countries are going. Russia is I think going back into it. China is definitely, and there was a quote I think I had where during that episode on Artemis, someone was saying, yeah, right now, oh, it was an astronaut actually, saying right now, we'll finally get together with China and going back to the moon in the future with robotics and not actual people. And the thing is, it wasn't until recently where NASA and the U.S. has started to work with China going into space. So, everything he said so far has been true, even though the astronaut said it back in the, was it 60s, 70s? It was quite a while ago. But, it just isn't weird, oddly coincidental that something quoted from an astronaut from decades ago is coming true now.
Baby, I want to go see the Starman. You know what his name was?
The movie Starman?
No, Elon Musk put his roadster up there.
Oh, the roadster.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I do believe in space and science and all that. You know that. Mm-hmm. So, I like watching the ISS. I mean, that's some pretty cool stuff.
Yeah. Well, did you see the video snippet of that astronaut? Where?
Well, you're talking to a radio operator / telemetry chick, right? Mm-hmm. Those anomalies happen all the time. Nothing's perfect.
No, well, I mean, like there was like no weight. I mean, it was like so.
It could be the fact they were pre-recorded it. Who knows? I mean,
True, because at the end of the video,
I don't dissect. Yeah, I don't dissect. There's too much that can go wrong in those situations that I tend to, because I've watched it happen.
Yeah, I have a feeling it wasn't live.
That I did. They cut it off because, look, that mission that I did in 07, they cut it off in the end so that nobody saw the anomaly. Because the rocket booster started going wacko. It started going wow, wow, wow. They cut it off so nobody else could see it. But I recorded it and watched it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, damn. But, that son of a bitch can put them up in the air and land them back down now.
Yeah. The 26th.
That's pretty impressive.
On August 26th, I'll get to see if NASA puts out a video. Because that astronaut pre-recorded saying, today, August 26th, marks the halfway point of my, etc. And so, and of course, she recorded that on that day of that video. But it's just too much of a show to me. To me, I don't get it. For you, you work in it, and I guess I could see it that way. But the entire NASA, the governments, they've always had these theater of war operations, fakery, and yet the only one that you're saying that's 100% legitimate is NASA in the space effort.
I'm not saying it's 100% legitimate. I'm not
Okay.
they suck. They don't suck as much money out of our budget as Department of Defense does. They suck a small percentage compared to the military. You know, I think our focus should be on what we're doing with our military. You know, we've just become our. Think about it. Think about how many places we have privatized war in the states. Damn near every state now has a defense contractor in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you know why
money.
that is, right?
A lot of it's
big money.
Yeah, big money. Not just actual production, but of just research. Research is a huge part of it.
Research, parts, exactly. Every bit of it. I mean, they outsource everything. And that's what really pisses me off about it is, if you've ever seen the budget, I've been in contracting, and I've seen how they
I've worked
do
with government contracts. I worked for companies that work.
So
with government contracts.
How much more it costs to have a civilian contractor to perform that mission than to have the military to do it.
Yeah,
right?
But also the thing is, people don't go into the military out of school as far as doing research. They usually like going to a private sector or to academia to do their research. They don't want to go and work on weapon systems, even though they call it defense systems. It's still weapons. I mean, if you think about it,
But we got DARPA.
Yeah,
DARPA.
DARPA is a
I mean,
big one.
ERDEC is for the Corps of Engineers. I mean, we have the Corps of Engineers. I mean, they're not stupid. They're some of the... you know what I think about the Corps.
Yeah. What was I...
So it's just, unfortunately, it's just a... did you see today what's his name? I can't even think of the dude's name now. I think he's like out of Massachusetts, where he dropped out of the race, the presidential...
I've seen it. I didn't pay attention. Before we go on to this topic, I'm just going to say, for example, Raytheon, BBN Technologies, I worked there, and they got bought out by Raytheon. Which one did you work at? Huh?
Who did you work for?
BBN Technologies. They were acquired by Raytheon, but I didn't know that until later. And I was like, why is it called Raytheon BBN Technologies? Yeah, so I worked on a prototype that went into private markets for anyways, a lot of it was just all defense stuff. And I'd see all these other types of research that they're doing, and it's pretty interesting. The thing is, they're not gonna. The military, they can't enlist enough people to do research in the military. And so of course they're gonna need to go private. But there's just so much money that just is sent that way that it's amazing how much money goes through all these contracts. And I've known people who've worked in some like Raytheon, just Raytheon, not even BBN Technologies. So much money that they would just spend money on stuff just because they could spend it. It's just DVDs, Blu-rays, just piles of them, and it's like,
use it or lose it. That's the law.
And it's like,
that's
I've never seen
law.
This person watch any of these movies. It's still in that plastic. It's like, why do you need to buy hundreds of Blu-rays? And hundreds of Blu-rays probably cost thousands of dollars. And it's like, well, he just has money to blow. and the person who worked there, when he gets home, all he does is play World of Warcraft. I mean, that's all he does. Is like, okay,
Yep.
so make lots of money working in defense, go home, play World of Warcraft all day, but buy tons of stuff that you never use. It's just
Yep.
it's just funny to me. I think it's a little sad, but it's funny. Okay, go ahead. Sorry, the person who dropped out of the Democratic race.
No. Yeah, I can't think of the guy's name. I think he's out of Massachusetts. He was a Marine, and he was the only like combat soldier that led a. He was a lieutenant, I think, and he said, "Fuck it, I'm gonna tell the truth. It's time to
Seth
tell
Moulton?
the truth," or something about it. Is that his name? Yeah, Moulton. Yeah. And he said, "Fuck it." That's what he said today. He's got a T-shirt now. Fuck it, it's time to tell the truth or something about his PTSD.
Oh.
He talked about, leading a platoon and blowing up a car, and a 5-year-old, the parents were killed, and, he kept his platoon running right by it. And, that's shit that just, it sticks with you, man, and it don't go away. I mean, it's awful. And we're doing that to a whole generation. Now we're working on our second generation. And it's not cool. It's not cool what we're doing, and it's unnecessary, and it's all about resources. But we've got resources that are renewable, and we've got a government that, and this administration is, clean coal. And yeah, I didn't like the guy. I wouldn't have voted for him. I mean, no. But what I'm saying is at least he brought it out to the forefront of, PTSD is real. And if you've never been to an OCO, to an overseas contingency operation, if you've never been in a war, you'll never understand that. And I've been in 4 of them, and it ain't good. And it's not, I did one 20 years later, and I saw a country, Turkey, turn into a theocracy. When I was there, it wasn't like that. And we're creating these terrorists by what we're doing. And that's just feeding the system. I mean, we're a war system now that's where, most of our, anybody in the world want weapons, we got them.
Mm-hmm.
We're selling them to Saudi Arabia, and we're killing people in Yemen. I mean, we're giving money to Israel and letting them have free education and health care, and we don't have it. We're not taking care of our, I'm not a nationalist or a populist or I don't even know what those, now I care about my country, and what I see happening in it now is not good. And I know that I'm not the only one that feels that. I mean, I've listened to people in your chat, and they're not like that. They don't want that either. And it's not immigrants' fault. It's not their fault. I mean, if we were lucky enough to be born in this country, a lot of people can't put themselves in other people's shoes.
Yeah.
We take a lot for granted. We take a lot for granted in this country. But there's a lot of people hurting here. I see, good grief, man. I live in poverty down here, and I'm lucky. And we allow predatory lenders and, the drug war. And, it's just, we're in a police state, these militarized police with these don't tread on me flags flying in their yards. I sued that cop. I knew I was going to lose.
Oh.
I did. I knew I was going to lose because statute of limitations was up.
Yeah.
Right? But I did it anyway because I wanted it on record.
Yeah.
I wanted it anyway, and I made the preacher judge. He's a preacher. Yes, he's a Baptist preacher who's our district judge. I made his hands go up in the air. I was like, I understand the statute of limitations. I understand that. And I looked him straight in the eye and I said, he didn't pay me for a fence. I paid him to put a fence up for me. Don't ever pay anybody in advance. That's a lesson that I learned. Don't ever pay anybody up front. Not even a cop.
Yeah.
But I said, he goes, what am I, the judge says, it's the law. What am I said, does it make it right?
Very good point, yeah.
And he was like, oh, boop, 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 boop. So, I'm not some do-gooder.
You are a do-gooder.
I mean, I'm not like a prude or anything like that. I'm not perfect. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm not that. But damn it, we have got corruption everywhere, and it's. I mean, it's. We don't even have the police chief. This state is in so much trouble. I mean, I heard Shirley talking about her district attorney and. Shit, you should see what's going on down here, baby. I mean, since I've been back from Afghanistan, it's just been embarrassing. It's embarrassing. If I didn't love my place, my woods, I got out here, I wouldn't be here. It's cheap.
Yeah, I was talking to someone. Or it was in chat, but it's basically... It's funny how kind of backwards this is. It's like, okay, you can go out and buy a lot of land for cheap, where there's not a lot of people living, and or you could go to the city where you can't own anything and it's expensive. Isn't it kind of weird to think about things that way? I mean... Can you imagine having it?
I couldn't do it anymore.
You can't live out? You don't like the...
I can't live in the city. I couldn't live in the city anymore.
Yeah.
I can't do crowds. Yeah, I can't. There's not a lot of people I like anymore.
That's not true.
No, it's true. There's not very many around here.
Maybe you just haven't been going to the right places. I don't know.
No, it's been a journey here, baby. I keep to my damn self. It's just best. It just really is. I mean, but it's okay. I mean, I'm at the stage in my life where I'm good. I just know that I've had more time on my hands since I got back. And look, I had a friend that was at FOB Hammer. Right. Was he there before? He was in there July 10. When was Chelsea in Iraq? When that happened? You remember?
Chelsea Manning?
Yeah. Well, my friend was there in 2010 at FOB Hammer, which is where he was, right? And I was so proud of her. I mean, I wish that I'd have had a camera on me to film the special ops side of things. Because what we had and what we did, yeah, it was too much. I mean, because OCO money, when they had the sequestration or whatever, remember how they were, you remember that when they were doing cutting the government off, saying they were broke and all that stuff with Obama. We're broke, we can't fund the government and all that. They kept doing that. Honestly, we've not had a budget. We're still in continuing resolution. Do you understand that? We still do not have a hard budget. We have been running on a continuing resolution since 2008. Yes.
Yeah, the entire shutdown of the government, parts of government, until a budget is made by the House that's approved by the Senate, etc. Yeah.
But but they just continue it. It's called a continuing resolution. That is not a hard budget.
Yeah,
it's not.
They don't need to. It's like, hey, we don't even need to do a hard budget. Let's just keep this going. It's like until someone stops us.
It's
like
the law, though. That's what I'm saying.
The
this
law doesn't apply
is so
to them.
Corrupt. It doesn't. And that's what I'm saying. And especially, we didn't. Our money for OCO when you're in a contingency operation, it's not affected by the budget. But what they also don't tell you is that special ops, they have what's called a black budget. And look, I saw some things, and that's what I'm saying. They mess with Julian Assange and Chelsea Manning and Susie. This mouth of the South is going to start singing, whistle blowing. I'm telling you, I've kept my damn mouth shut out of respect for one person, and I've gotten the A-OK from it. And if anything goes down, I'm going to every damn news station and newspaper there is. And I'm giving it to them all. I'm giving it all to them. And it's not going to be pretty. So, take that, Five Eyes. I'm sick of them. I'm absolutely sick of them.
I think a lot of people are. Not enough people.
Then they should be.
Yeah. And
the
thing is, people are waiting on something. And I think the I don't know what you would call them. I always say they, but I don't know. That's not quite correct. The ones that we see on the world stage, they, again, I guess I would just call them they, just for short. They know all the buttons not to press, right? They know what will cause outrages. They know what will cause an all-out revolution, or even enough people to have like a what do you call it? Civil disobedience, so it's gotten to the point where it's like, no, we'll just keep it going indefinitely. That's their thing. Keep it going. Make it so it's not a hard, bad choice. It's just a slow. Again, it's war of attrition. You said it. Just keep things going. So it's just hard on everybody. They can't do enough to. They won't be able to accumulate enough to make any difference. And we'll just make small little changes here and there. Most people won't even notice, but some people will. But then, we've gotten to the point right now that even the people on the world stage, they can't control things that they've set in motion. An example of that is, what if the government told you, and NASA told you, and pretty much a lot of these organizations told you that they lied, that the Earth was really flat? You wouldn't believe them, would you, Mia?
If they showed me and proved it to me, I would.
You would, okay. But many people still wouldn't. They'd be like, no, you guys are lying now. You guys have, the Earth is round. There's so much things that you guys, because they don't want to know.
That flat Earth stuff, I don't know what the attraction is to that. I don't think that's as important as what's happened here. I don't think that's the right battle to fight right now.
There's plenty of battles everywhere. I mean, everyone can choose their own. But I mean,
It's just
Flat Earth
it's a
is more fought against by mainstream media and establishment than anything that we talk about as far as WikiLeaks, Julian Assange, Chelsea Manning, and those, or even the DNC fraud lawsuit, Seth Rich, I mean, all of that stuff. Like I did that show, like the top 5 things that, what is it? They don't want you talking about, or they don't want people talking about. Let me just see what that title was. It gets tough when when I just start putting out videos after videos, because I just kind of forget some of these things. Let's see. 5 topics that get you blacklisted and why. Yeah. Like if I apply for pretty much any job and they go, so what have you been doing for the next 2 weeks? Oh, I'll just, or a year or something. And I just say, oh yeah, I've just been exposing corruption and lies from from various institutions, including the government, U.S. government. And they're going to be like, okay, thank you for stopping by. It doesn't matter.
That's the same thing. I mean, I had to lie when I came back from Afghanistan, from being civil service with the Corps of Engineers. I lied to the out-processing people at USACE about any PTSD, any kind of, health issues, the burn pits, nope, my lungs fine, all that stuff. I had to lie because I had been offered a contractor's position. If I had been honest with USACE, I'd have never got that job to go back. I mean, the system makes you lie. Because it's just like, I made these people down here in Alabama, when I started my cannabis activism when I got back, because, I don't drink and I don't, take pills and all that stuff. And I've had 6 people die of overdose and suicide. 6. Personally, I've known. And I went, because I don't have insurance. I don't have any health insurance. Yeah. So I went to the VA here. Holy crap. Went to Selma, went to Tuscaloosa, and then I went to Birmingham. In Birmingham, the University of Birmingham, what's it called? UAB. I think it's Auburn. I don't know what it is, but it's in Birmingham. And now UAB is where the Carley's law, the CBD law, we have CBD is legal in Alabama because of epilepsy and stuff, right? Now that's right next door to the VA, right? But in every single one of the VAs in Alabama, I made their eyes roll back in their heads when I mentioned cannabis. Oh, we can't talk about that. We can't talk about that. We can't talk about that. So I'm on a list, right? I'm on a list. And, I went to my district attorney. I said, look, this is who I am. This is what I do. There's $100 worth of CDs. I want to, why aren't we educating people about cannabis? He was more worried about me being an atheist than a pot smoker. What does that tell you? Yeah. What does that tell you?
Well, I think they wouldn't mind atheism so much if there was a religious order that controlled the atheists in the world, like the atheist congregation or something like that. I think they'd be okay with that.
We're not, but hey, we're not. We're not a religion. It's the lack of, and that's the thing. I believe we're one race, and that's the human race. And I try to treat people with respect because that's what I want back. Mm-hmm. And it's gotten me through all over the world, around the world. everywhere I've been, I've lived successfully. And I've never, gone in there and tried to throw my religion on, throw, my beliefs on them, and you get what you give. I mean, I don't know. It's but I don't have special tax exemptions. You know,
Create
see what I'm saying? There's a
your
big
nonprofit
difference.
atheist religion. maybe you'll get
What's
a tax
that
exemption.
again?
Create your own nonprofit atheist religion, and maybe you'll get like a tax exemption.
I don't want them. I want to
I know, I'm just
contribute.
kidding.
I like we have to contribute to a society
Yeah.
for it to run properly. We need funds to pay for roads, to pay for lights, to pay for, I don't want to have to worry about getting mugged. I do want a police presence. I want not a police, how can I say, a public servant, that guards, because there are some creeps out there. As a female, there's some I mean, if you look at what I get for sexual predators, because I got hacked. I get that free LifeLock thing now because of OPM, and every month.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is you told me you were harassed. Was it sexually by 2 police officers?
No, listen to this. I had a girlfriend I worked with, and when I was up in Huntsville, she drove down 45 minutes every day from Tennessee. She had a car wreck and had like a metal rod in the base of her neck, right? And it was like 4 inches long. And when she came down here, before she was going to have another surgery to take that pin out and to put 2 more rods all the way down her spine. Just because when she came down here before her surgery, she was like bent over like the Hunchback of Notre Dame. It was bizarre. But my friend she had a bag full of pills. She had morphine. She drove down here. I mean, 6 hours? Yeah, we got legal junkies driving. That's what she was. And I saw my friend. She wanted to come down here and eat good, get some fresh air, go on a semi-hike, Well, we wanted to go out to dinner, and there's no place to eat around here except up in Birmingham. So she said, well, here, drive my little scooter-booter car. And I had like a big-ass Dodge truck, right? So I'm used to driving a big truck, V8, right?
Yeah.
And the Dodge the Daisy. Well, she let me drive her little Hyundai. And it was back roads. We went to Tuscaloosa, then we went to Birmingham. So on the way back from Birmingham, went through this little town in Shelby County. And Shelby County is where Senator Dick Shelby, he's got the checkbook for our appropriations right now for our country out of Shelby County, Alabama. Just a little footnote there. We're getting a lot of money in Alabama right now, by the way. Yeah. So when we came back down through that, this was like midnight, 12:30 at night. Now this is after I'd gone, a year or 2 before to talk to my district attorney. They know me, the sheriffs know me, the deputies, they all know me. Never mess with me. I mean, I'm tuned up everywhere I go around here, right? I'm in her car, driving this little silver Hyundai with a Tennessee tag on it. And I go through this little town called Calera. I take a right at a stoplight, and not 100 yards after I took that right, I got blue lights behind me. Now, she's asleep next to me. She's out, right? And at that time, I only took with me just a little bit with one of those little one-hitter things.
Yeah.
And I was out, right? I had hit it probably half an hour before. And I'd forgotten that I dropped it right between my legs. Right? And when I saw the blue lights, I was like, fuck. You know, whatever. Young little guy comes up to the car. She gives me the registration and stuff, and I'm shaking. Well, his flashlight goes up and down my breast, my lap, goes up and down me like 3 or 4 times, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, God, I just hate cops, you know? He goes, what? You hate cops? And because he had shown his light up and down my body. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, I looked good that night, too, by the way. I looked really good. I did. I was looking pretty good that night because I was out on the town. Well, he goes, after I gave him the license registration, he looked back at my lap, and he goes, well, what's that? And I said, oh, shit. I said, that's mine. And it's no bigger than a quarter, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I opened up. I said, there ain't nothing in it. I said, it's gone. I ain't got nothing in there. He goes, oh, that's paraphernalia. That's paraphernalia. Get out the car. Get out the car right now. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I had on, like, these knee-high boots. I'm pretty tall anyway, and I had these knee-high boots on that had, like, 3 or 4 inch heels. So when I got out the car, I was, like, 6 inches taller than he was. Right?
Yeah.
And I had skinny jeans on with no pockets. And I was like, what's the problem? I said, there's nothing in there. I said, I don't have anything. He's like, turn around, I'm going to pat you down. I said, no, I want a female. I said, no, I want a female. He slammed me up against the car. Put handcuffs on me. I mean, I spent 13 and a half hours in Shelby County Jail. I have never been in trouble. I've only had a speeding ticket my whole life. I had scars on my wrist where they'd done it so tight. He was so scared of me for some reason. And I mean, I was crying like a baby. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with y'all? Mm-hmm. I don't understand it. And he actually, you know, it was. And then when I went and get this, that was in March of 17. Guess what date my court date was? 4/20. Do you get the significance of that?
Yeah.
April 20th. And then to witness what I witnessed in Calera that day, the lives that were ruined by nonviolent drug offenders and people that could not pay petty fines, parking tickets, all that stuff. The thousands of them. And I ended up, they said, because at the time I didn't have a job.
Yeah.
And so I said, well, I'm indigent. I can't afford an attorney. Well, we'll appoint you a public defender. And then I put down, because I own my property outright, they laughed at me. You're not indigent. And listen to this. I had like $3,000 in my checking account at the time, in my checking, and they took all but $30 of what I had in my checking account and told me to go to the bank next door to get cash. And so I paid. So I didn't get like, they charged me with speeding, possession, paraphernalia, and something else. But I said, I am not I didn't have any pot on me. I'm not copping to that. Okay, well, we'll take that off of there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a racket. Next.
And I mean, it is crime down here is a business.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't think it's
like, you know,
I don't think crime is the business. I think the the police force is the business. The city
Well,
is the
the
business.
crime creates jobs for the police, the attorneys, the judges.
Did you commit a crime?
Probate officers, all.
Mia, did you
I
commit a
guess
crime?
I was speeding. I mean, I tried to do it like 3 times, but I couldn't get up. I mean, it was like, because the speed limit's right there is like 30 miles an hour.
Yeah.
There's like a one stoplight town. And get this.
But it's speeding.
Get this. And guess where I bought that one hitter?
Where?
Right down the damn road. And that's the only place you can buy those son bitches.
Yeah.
So they sell them in the damn town, in the county, in that little town. Anywhere around here, you can't find them except right there.
Yeah. It's probably where they're waiting.
I know. I mean, there was absolutely nobody out there that night. So he was sitting there waiting. And get this, the same night that happened, they busted a guy. I'll never forget it. He had like 3 pounds or something. They busted a guy from Tennessee. So I think they had like a dragnet situation going on, thinking Tennessee tag or whatever. Mm-hmm. And if you look up on YouTube in Birmingham, there was a girl that was kidnapped that same night in a trunk of her car at a gas station. She jumped out of the gas station. That was the same night that I got arrested. But I thought, here's 2 chicks, 12:30 at night. You're going to, bust me for speeding, just trying to get home.
Yeah, you think they would do their job and follow leads to make sure that people aren't being kidnapped instead of waiting for someone coming out of a store and going down a road?
I don't understand it. I mean, the mentality, and I mean, I'm lucky. I mean,
I wouldn't call that lucky.
If I'd have been a black, if I was a black woman, they'd have probably shot me. That's how these sumbitches think down here.
Yeah.
And it's sick. It's sick. We've got a sick society right now, and we had a hard time down here with gangs, and I mean, and it was scary. I mean, they set a couple cops up and were shooting at them, in this one housing area. But I understand why they're pissed.
Yeah.
You got people all over the country, all over the world that are making money off of something that they just want to do to relieve their stress. But no, they want to push alcohol on you down here because, we have a state-run, the ABC, Alabama Beverage Corporation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's my argument with pot versus alcohol, and a lot of these Schedule I drugs is, if you're gonna smoke pot, and I know that's kind of like the drug of this day, you don't want to go out partying and take pot. You just want to sit in front of a sofa, watch TV or something when you're smoking pot, or just go lay outside. If you're gonna go out and party, I think that's when you're gonna drink alcohol. It's not many people, unless they're alcoholics, will get drunk at home all alone, and just watch TV. I mean, if anything, they'll have a few beers just to relax after a hard day, maybe. But yeah, for me, I've never known anyone to just smoke pot if we're going out to go partying, go to a party at the club or something. It's no one goes there to smoke pot that I knew of. I mean, people went there to drink a lot, smoke cigarettes, but not pot. It's just, I don't know. I just feel like, as far as a drug,
I would love nothing to have a juke joint and be able to just smoke out. I mean, I love to have hookahs. I mean, I had hash in Afghanistan. That's the only thing that got me through without killing fellow Americans, is some wonderful Egyptian hash. I think it was Afghan hash that the Egyptians got. I'm not sure. It was really good though. But yeah. That's cannabis. Yeah. It's not heroin. Won't want anybody to get misconstrued there, but. Yeah, the Americans are really lucky I could have that there. It's the only thing that got me through.
Yeah.
But It's not a depressant, and it's not an agitator. I mean, there's different strains, cannabis, like sativa or indica, but I mean, different types affect me differently.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but it has never caused a death. It's never, made you want to go beat your wife. I mean, it just doesn't happen. But that's the mentality. I mean, it doesn't make you do that. I mean, it really doesn't. And because it is, a brain enhancement. I mean, it makes you think. People say, "Oh, get paranoid." Well, the only reason why you get paranoid is because you think you're going to get busted. I mean, if they took that stigma away and would allow you to do it freely, you wouldn't feel that way. I mean, but it affects everybody differently, and I'm not going to push it on anybody, that doesn't, but, that's not the way down here. They want to push religion and alcohol on you down here. And, I mean, and it's pervasive. Religion, alcohol, and football. It's sick. I mean, I don't want to do any of them. But these, I mean, it's cultish. It's almost like a cult. And I just, what did I hear the other day? Do you know the difference between a religion and cults?
What was that?
And I feel like it's something to the effect of, a religion is a book about a man. No, a cult is teachings by a man that's alive that tells you what to do, how to think, what to say, how to be. And the religion, he's dead. And the cult, he's alive, and the religion, he's dead. And I mean, it's like, this is one and the same.
I don't know about that. Because, I mean, the Roman Catholic Church has the Pope. And a lot of Protestant denominations and religions have so on to preach, but it's all preaching from, of course, gospel. If you're a Protestant, but still, yeah, I get your point.
And they're trying to. It's such a slippery slope down here. I mean, I guess I see it as a divider, because the blacks go to one church, whites go to another church. And they all have politics in them. Everybody's got the politicians going to the churches, which just blows me away. I'm like, that is,
It's did you listen to?
It's unconstitutional.
Did you watch the video I did about how a attorney, attorney at law, it was a couple days ago, admits the real practice, and he's saying, small towns, you got the police officers, police officers wear the badge because they know they can get away with doing the stuff they're not supposed to do. Plus, if you have a criminal conviction already and you're going to go to a small town and have a trial or hearing of what the wrongdoing of an officer, you're not going to win because the officer goes to church with people in that small town. And they're going to take their word for it over some stranger in a town that has a criminal past. So it's set up. It's set up that way. I think if you're going to be a politician or someone within government, you're going to want to attend that church, even if you don't believe in that religion. You need to go to the church that's popular. That way you have a good public appearance, It's just all...
See, that's like what's going on with the Proud Boys or whatever with the Antifa. I would never go to a church. I just wouldn't. That's antagonistic. They can believe all they want to believe. I don't take it away from anybody. If that's what you want to do, do it. But stay out of my government. Don't rule by the Bible. Rule by the laws and have reasonable laws. I mean, why is that so much to ask? And and for religions, have I ever come at you at a reasonable way? I mean, if I have, please tell me, and I'll try to correct it.
No, I mean,
Because so I'm pretty ethical and reasonable and moral, and for them to say, to have the corner on morality is bullshit. I think I've got more ethics. Look, I'm dealing with a district judge here that is a preacher. He's in charge of the drug court. He's in charge of the not-for-profits that do the Keep It Clean, Selma, and the I mean, he's got like 5 or 6 of them. The Children's Policy Council. I mean, they're all. He's an attorney. He's an ex-attorney, and they know how to skirt the law. And that's University of Alabama. That's the major thing is their law school there.
Mm-hmm.
We got too many attorneys. I ain't got enough workers. Because there ain't nothing getting done around here. I'm telling you, the only thing that's been new built in this town in 10 years is right next door to Wallace Community College, which is a majority black college, 2-year state college, is a criminal justice center or whatever, and that's where the fucking state troopers train and correctional officers. Right next door to it.
Here's one good thing about Christianity is that they do have a fear of God in them. They won't do what the cop did to you. The police officer that slammed you against the car, arrested you, put you in jail, pretty much got, $2,700 out of you for a crime you didn't commit. And the thing is, that didn't happen from an ordinary person that wasn't a police officer. I mean, yeah, I know there are some bad things with religion, with the religious leaders, and just a lot of other things. But at least they're not the ones doing that. Like the police officers, they don't care if they go to that same. I'm pretty sure they go to the same church as majority of people in whatever town, but they don't have the fear of God in them because they don't believe in that religion. They know they could get away with something, and it doesn't matter if until they get caught. And if they do get caught, they got other people that are just gonna back them up, because people that are within that same system, judicial system, and the civil, what do you call it? Well, police force. The judge is usually in the pocket. Same with the politicians. They're all in that same social circle. Once you get in there, you're in that same social circle. It's like you've got all this power that people perceive you to have, and they're just gonna listen to you. And if they don't, well, then what happens to them is what happens to you, Mia, which is horrible.
I'm sure that little boy went to church.
Yeah.
I'm sure
I'm
he did.
just saying they don't. Once they're in that social circle of the, I guess you could call it the elite, they don't really believe in that religion like most workers do. I mean, because most workers who toil, they don't want to be in that I guess it's more of a temptation. They don't want to be tempted with power or with corruption or with doing the wrong thing. And if they get to that point where they are, well, then they are. It's that whole quote that power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. It's that.
Oh, this guy was little Barney. He was Barney Fife. He was Barney Fife. I don't think he had his bullet in his gun that night. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's definitely a journey down here, and I've just, like I said, I keep to myself. I'm in anonymity, what is that the right word?
Anonymous. Anonymity.
Anonymous with my, I don't put my face out there and stuff, but in this area they know me, and I'm a poster child for pot, and I'm a decent citizen. I pay my taxes. I don't break the law. I commend people when they do good things. I pick up garbage because they just litter like litter bugs around here. But, I don't go out of my way. I'm not out running the streets. I'm not causing trouble, so, and there's less crime up here. My horse got gone one time, and the deputy that came out, he said, "How long have you been up here?" And I said, at that time it was about 6 years. And he said, "We ain't had no calls up here since you've been up here." And I said, "That's right." And that's why it's Mayor. Because when I was working at the dam, they tease me about Mir. They call me Mir, right? Just to jab at me. So I said, well, no. A friend of mine in, Ohio at the time, the greatest saying, he says, if you can't get along, get along. So that's how I rule my life now. So I'd say I'm up here in the Panhandle. I'm the mayor. I'm Mayor up here in the Panhandle. So that's why I know it sounds country, but that's what I came up when I set this shit up. So that's what it is.
Where would you want to live if you could?
I don't.
If you like, where would you want to live?
Hawaii.
Oh yeah, everyone wants to live in Hawaii.
I did. I have twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's nice. Which
but
part? Big Island, Oahu.
I lived on Oahu. I lived on Oahu and the Big Island.
Okay.
But I went to Molokai. I went to Maui. I went to
You've pretty much been to all.
No, I went to Kauai. I went to Kauai. Yep. Okay. Sure did.
I heard Kauai.
Absolutely.
Really nice.
Yeah, it's like a big. Well, it was after we went right after. It was like the early '90s, right after. Starts with an I. After that hurricane hit them, and it was pretty bad, but it was still
Hurricane Irma.
Was it Irma? Yeah. And they had ferns there, Ebon, that was as big as my truck.
Yeah. I visited Hawaii once. It was great.
Gorgeous.
On the Big Island, were you on the Hilo side or Kona?
Kona.
Oh, Kona.
But I went to. But I've been up there. They're striking right now because of Mauna Kea.
Yep.
The TMC, the 30mm telescope. Yeah, I've been right there. Because PTA, it's called Puakaloa Training Area. That's where I worked up on the mountain there.
Yeah.
It's an Army. Yeah, that's where I worked. But it was expensive. Good grief, that was expensive there.
Yeah. They make it hard for the people who, I guess the natives of Hawaii to really stay there. They end up selling their land or home, even though they don't need a.
It's Japanese owned. It's pretty much the Japanese own it now. Japanese and Chinese, yeah. It's really sad. It really is. I hang out with a lot of Filipino Americans, Filipino Hawaiians, and there's some of the nicest. Golly, we still talk, and it's weed's legal there now, so everything's cool, Which it wasn't back in the day, but we still did it, So, but I mean, there's nothing like. There's this park called Nanapunani, and it sits right above Pearl Harbor. And we'd go up there and smoke out and just imagine, watching the damn, what is it called, the flyers, the kamikaze planes coming in and stuff, and blowing up the Arizona and stuff. I mean, I could just imagine, because it overlooks Pearl Harbor, right? And it's called Aiea. That's where I hung out a lot. And it just, we lived at Hickam. And just, I mean, I was all there. I'd drive 3 hours. It took me to get to the North Shore by myself, just to watch because I saw the pipeline.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that was such a. I mean, People thought I was crazy to do it and stuff, but
Well,
I
there's a
loved
lot of
it.
problems that are occurring in Hawaii, and it's getting bad. I mean, they're making paradise horrible, and like one of the things that's rarely ever mentioned is that Hawaii. I forgot which island. I mean, this was almost a decade ago, if not even longer, and you don't even hear about it on the news. But they test a lot of it's like weed killer, those types of things like Monsanto uses and things like that. They test them on in Hawaii, and it gets into the water supply, the the groundwater system, the ocean, and I mean this is the testing of all that stuff. It's not even been like
Yeah, it's sad.
it's
Honey, they got DU up on PTA, depleted uranium. Yeah.
yeah.
From the ammunition because it's that's where they train for Afghanistan, because it's the mountains, I mean, you go up to the top of Mauna Kea, Mauna Loa, and it looks like you're on the damn moon. I mean, it's the most bizarre thing. I mean, it just, because it's a volcano. It's lava. You know what I mean? So there's really no trees. There's just these scrub brush stuff. But yeah, I remember, what's that guy's name? I mean, they had protests there all the time for DU. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, here it goes. So it was the island of Kauai that they're testing the chemicals.
Yeah. That's where, what's his name, Zuckerberg bought all that property.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He did, huh?
Yeah. Bastard. Yeah. But I've got the most beautiful beach right down here in Destin, Fort Walton. If you ever look up Henderson State Park, I mean, you walk on the sand and it's squeak, 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 beautiful water. But you know what? You know what's wrong now?
What?
Flesh-eating bacteria. People are dying from it. There's been like 4 people die this year from a flesh-eating bacteria.
I doubt that that's natural.
Well, you think? I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, I was on a ferry. I saw when, like, that BP oil rig thing blew. I was on a damn ferry when that happened. They're still cleaning up from that shit. I mean, I went to tech school back in the 80s in Biloxi, and that water was so brown. I mean, I'm from North Carolina, right? And we're green. We had the green waves, right? I mean, the water was just green. It wasn't because anything. I mean, but Lejeune was right there too, though. But I mean, we never heard of any kind of flesh-eating bacteria.
Mm-hmm.
Good griefus, or Cephas. So, I don't know. I just, the few conversations that I have with people when I go out, because, I mean, it's at the max 4 times a month.
Hey, it's more than I'm going out, so that's not bad.
Well, for groceries, yeah, that's what I do. Because I don't consume. I've got Trump derangement or Trump derangement syndrome. I mean, he's wore me out. I ain't putting a dime into this economy while he's in there. I refuse. Absolutely refuse. He's worse than Ronald Reagan.
Well, he is Ronald Reagan. He's just another actor.
That's what I'm saying. It's just like, I just can't. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I just hope I don't know if I can take it. I really don't know. I don't know. I might just throw this computer in the damn garbage. If I'm just going to disconnect from everything that some bitch gets back in there, I don't know what I'm going to do.
Well, I don't think he's gonna make it again. We're gonna have someone worse.
We're gonna have somebody worse. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Oh shit. Who could be worse? Who could be worse besides Hillary?
Pretty much Hillary, but we'll see. It's gonna be pretty bad, but it's expected.
Good grief.
Everything's always gotten worse, and it's never gotten better for a long time, right? So there you go. But
everyone, run for something. Run for something. Run for something.
No one's gonna vote me. This guy.
Do like Susie did and do the internet party, and the U.S. internet party. Get all those gamers. The gamers would go with you.
Nah. I would say the internet party is different. I think New Zealand is similar to the way that Australia is, where they have a parliamentary system. So basically, we're screwed. Yeah, if they choose the party to win, and then the party votes for their prime minister or whatever. So it wouldn't have the same effect. I mean, it has to be the person.
No, it wouldn't. Yeah. It wouldn't. I know. I'm just wishful thinking. Something's got to give, though, man. Something's got. I'm like the barometer of the country right now. It's like, if I'm this pissed off, it's not good, because I've been a pacifist forever, and it's got me this messed up. That's not good. Yeah, I used to get along with everybody, but I'm telling you what, these sumbitches down here are. And every time somebody comes at me like that, I'm like, how's those tax cuts working out for you? Did you get much back on your returns this year? And it doesn't register. It doesn't register with them. Because, we got Roy Moore lovers down here. They're all Roy Moore. And that, you talk about pedophilia. Good grief.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Hey, if it gets too bad, something's gonna happen to stop it. If it doesn't get too bad, if it doesn't even get slightly worse and just stays the same for a long, long time, maybe people just get used to it, and the world is just bad for a long, long time. But maybe there's that really tiny chance that people end up being better for no reason at all, just to be better. Things will get better.
Well, and that's the way I am when I go out. It's kind of interesting. I really do try. Like I said, I'm a white chick that doesn't look. I look kind of like native, and I get more prejudice from these fat white women. I get the evil eye from them all the time. But I get along with the black community. The girl that used to live here worked at the dam with me. She was my best friend, and I trusted her. She lived here while I was in Afghanistan, and I wouldn't trust another sumbitch from that dam for nothing. But it's an interesting thing. It's so funny because, everybody that I talk to, it's like, well, how you doing today, me? I'm good. Still trying to get pot legal. Oh, good. I get it from everybody. It's like, good, keep fighting it. I'm like, I am. I'm trying. But the oppression that's still here from 50 years ago is still here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, the woman that called out or sued Roy Moore, or, you know, accused him of, you know, sexual assault when she was young, she got her house burned. They burned her out. These people don't play down here. I mean, and that's what I'm saying. You know, I don't have any weapons. You know, I don't. So it's like I gotta really be careful. I mean, it's different for, you know, this, what I'm doing with you right now is the most that I've, in the past, especially since 2017. I was pretty out there, scoot booting around, trying to make a difference. But since 2017, my ass, they fixed me. You talk about, whew, I shut down.
Yeah.
I absolutely shut down. I don't want anybody to ever get handcuffed and put in jail.
Yeah.
It is absolute torture. What we're doing to human beings is we're creating monsters.
Yeah.
It's got nothing to do. You know, the criminal justice system is real down here, and they don't play. They've learned that. We got so. I mean, hello, Jeff Sessions. Hello, Mr. Private Prison Industry himself. You know, there's a long history here for incarceration. And, you know, and Shirley, she said it. That 13th Amendment is still in there, and they're making money off of these prisoners.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a disgrace, absolute disgrace. And I just wish we could find some people with backbones. There's no gritty people anymore. Tulsi, I think, it scared them. I mean, because she called them out on their bullshit. And but look what they did to her. You know?
Yeah. She's not going to be in the third debate, right? I think that's the latest word.
I think that's the latest I heard. They're not going to let her in.
Yeah.
I mean, Tulsi's got some issues, too. I mean, she's not perfect, but at least she's just called out, you know, some things that, you know, is trying to make people think about it. But it's just like think about our society. They're doped up, poor, I mean, primed for manipulation and propagandized, and filled with, and they're making it hate each other, and I'm watching it happen, and it breaks my freaking heart. We don't have communities anymore. Neighbors don't. I mean, I don't like my neighbors anyway, but because they're bigots, they're prejudiced, and I don't hang around prejudiced people. But you can't. I can't. You know, you can't change them. They're in their late 60s. They're not going to change.
Yep. Well,
it's like my generation. I'm looking. You know, from the young ones. I'm in the middle right now, and it's like, son of a gun.
Yep.
It's frustrating. It's very frustrating.
People aren't going to change except on their own. No matter how hard that you, me, or someone else may try to change someone else, it's never going to happen. What we can do is we can change ourselves. And not a lot of people will change themselves. And so the thing is, some people do notice. People will notice when someone else changes, and I think that's kind of a. I would say that's kind of a. I don't know. Maybe it's a signal or something, like a little trigger mechanism in their head, and they go, "Hey, wow, that person's different." And it's also when people change, you see their outlook change, and people would notice, it's like, hey, why is that guy so happy? Why is that gal so happy? Like, what are they doing that's different? It's like, how is someone who just works bare minimum, how are they so happy? You know, it's like, what is it that they're doing? And you know, they seem to have no problems. You know, I got all these problems. I got all these things I need to do. I got all these things that I've got, and yet, you know, they want others to change, but then they'll end up realizing, yeah, I think the same. It's like, you know what? Screw it. I'm just gonna change myself. See how the best myself can be, and see if anyone else does. And there we go. That's your community. That's your common unity. People who change themselves for the better. We're not going to change anyone else. We could change ourselves, and yet the ones who are changing themselves for the better, they can make decisions together. And I think that's kind of where it all starts. I mean, people hate change. People hate change. They hate seeing other people
Yeah,
change.
they do. They really do.
Yeah.
I mean, I've run into a couple people that I hadn't seen in a while, and they're like, "Shit, we thought you moved to Florida." And I'm like, "Nope, nope, nope. He moved to Florida. I just keep it close." You know, it's just because I'll look into something. I mean, and like I said, altruism, doing something good just for doing something good. You don't seek a reward out of it.
Yeah.
You know, there's not a hidden agenda behind it. There's no financial gain for someone. I mean, that's, I love to give when I can to people that I know that are trying to do good. I mean, that does give me pleasure, but I don't do it for the recognition of it. I just do it to help, because I think we need to help each other. I mean, although I don't like my neighbors, if they need me, I'd help them. That's just, I'm just that kind of person. I mean, I was raised that way.
Yep.
But we have such, people are in such survival mode. I mean, I don't know, this is a financial depressive area. And it's a rural area, But, I mean, it's so historically significant, though, that it just, I mean, I never saw myself being here. I mean, I never foresaw me being here. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, I've not one time have I ever done the bridge walk. And I refuse. And they have, like, the next weekend after the bridge walk, they do a Civil War reenactment thing. And it's like, you know what? If those two groups, because they're not-for-profits, right? They got their little not-for-profits, those tax-exempt things. We got to change that damn law. We got them not-for-profit. They're dangerous as hell. 5 people get together, you can have a not-for-profit.
Mm-hmm.
And rich people will give you money if you can tax-deductible. They'll give it to you. And that's wrong. That's not good.
Yeah.
But if them two groups got together and did something, I would participate. But, I told you this year that they put Hillary Clinton, they inducted her in to the National Voting Rights Hall of Fame this year. Did I tell you that shit? Oh, yes. Oh, yes. That hussy was down here. I wanted to go so bad, but I've got, shell-shocked, because I was just scared I'd go to jail. I don't want to go to jail again. They cured my ass to protest, and I'm telling you, I ain't going to jail again. But I thought, God, take a damn sign there. It said, Julian Assange said that you cheated, Hillary. I mean, that's how messed, the Democratic Party down here is just as, I mean, we just stripped the DNC's credentials away from them because they were running it so corruptly. So, I mean, It's ridiculous. It's all corrupt. Everything around here is corrupt. It is. It sucks. It
Yeah.
absolutely sucks. And so I sit here and I think, okay, but I'm gonna ask you straight up: do I sound nuts? Because I sit here and I go, Mia, you've lost your damn mind. This shit can't be happening like this. This shit really can't be happening. And it is every day.
Yeah.
But I'm the one that's crazy. I'm the one that's nuts. Oh, that's that crazy girl up there in the Panhandle. She's crazy.
Just be a flat earther for a day. You'll feel normal.
I ain't going that far, baby. I'm sorry. I like science. I never took physics, but I get the concept. We ain't that special, and that's what I'm saying. Christians ain't special. And I'm telling you, that Mark Sargent guy has an agenda for money, for clicks, and he's making damn money off of that.
There's a lot of people who do make money in the flat earth circles.
If you had the opportunity to go up in a damn, I don't know, that dude, who was that Red Bull guy? Like, golly, that's been like 6 years ago. He went up like 150,000 feet, and you could see it. And that had nothing to do with NASA. You could see it.
Not really. They use GoPro wide-angle lens, which would make everything curved.
Stop it! Why?
No, seriously.
Look,
and besides,
why do you think a Red Bull guy would give a shit back then about what
Red Bull
Why do you? That's what I'm
advertisement?
saying. Don't be
He gets a lot of money. I mean, Neil deGrasse Tyson admits he can't see
for
the curve.
rounders.
Neil deGrasse Tyson says you can't see the curve from up that high. So, I mean, you're either going to believe him or you're not. And he's the top theoretical physicist
I saw it
today.
I saw
Yeah,
it.
and I'm telling you that there's super wide angle lens on a GoPro, which I also have. And everything looks curved in the super wide lens. I don't use that angle anymore because everything it doesn't look very good. But you know what? Take your time on it. You don't have to think any other way until you're ready to think. So
don't hold your breath, baby.
Nah, I don't.
I just.
I'm not looking for you to change.
We're not that significant. We got one shot at this life, and we need to make the best of it.
Well, then,
and we're not. We're allowing people to manipulate us into arguing with each other when we shouldn't be.
Well,
because
if you think about it that way, if we
argue about something like that.
If you think about it that way, we only get one shot at life, then we are significant. We're super significant because that one life means a lot. Of course, I don't think we only get one life, but still. I mean, if you think about it in context, I used to read a lot of fantasy books, and a lot of fantasy books have a lot of races, like elves and dwarves and things like that live a long, long time. And certain fantasy books, there are like immortal type of races, or I mean, like even Lord of the Rings, the elves are actually immortal. But what makes the humans and special is their short lives, because they do so much. Not necessarily a good, just because they just know that their lives are short, so they try to get a lot accomplished in that short time. But it's funny if you think about it in that context. The longer lived races are just like, yeah, why are all these humans just so restless? Can't they just relax? But it's just, that's how significant the humans races are in these fantasy books, because all the other races live so long. They really don't rush on doing certain things, just because they've got anywhere from 200 300 years, so it's I don't know, it's just a funny thing. Yeah, it's
lay off the ayahuasca.
You gotta try ayahuasca. If you like
I don't know if I
marijuana,
can handle that. I don't know if I did LSD back in, well, acid they called it back in the 80s, but that only made me like see people's feet like 10 feet long, but I never,
LSD's
no, I mean,
LSD's not really natural. You gotta take something that's natural. That'll change your consciousness, at least the way you
I
see
did
things.
mushrooms, but that just made me laugh.
Wasn't that a
I
good
only did it
thing?
one time. Oh, I had a blast.
Yeah.
I had a blast. But I don't know. I mean, I don't, look, your mind goes more than my mind goes. I have a hard time, I've got A to D to D to D to D. My mind bounces around from early childhood trauma, so I can't concentrate on one subject long, and I'll skip around, but you do it more than I do. And, you got babies, and they're good right now, and you can control them and, guide them the best that you can and protect them and, try to teach them to do good things and be good to other human beings and all that. But those children are going to grow up and they're going to have minds of their own. And when that hits you, I hope for your sake. I mean, I can remember I'm going through a situation with my kid right now, and I can remember my mom sitting in her little chair, and she's got her finger pointing up in the sky, and she's doing it around in a circle. And I'm like, what is that? And I get it now. What comes around, goes around. And I don't believe in karma, but just, my kid was a good kid. I mean, I never spanked her, which I got my butt beat daily. I mean, back in the day, we just, and I grew up Baptist, right? I mean, spare the child. But sometimes I wish I had her. I wish I'd have beat her. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not a violent person. But I know I got my ass beat worse than, for the hell of a lot less than she did.
Yeah. Well,
So hopefully, the future is what I worry about. We're not leaving because of the elites are sucking up all the resources. And for profit. And, I wish that we could concentrate on that and get everybody together with that. I think if everybody got together on that one thing, we would come together as a country.
Well, the people aren't going to change. The best thing to do is get people together who have already changed and witnessed what's going on. I mean, the outreach right now isn't going to change anybody. I mean, people wake up on their own dime, on their own time. And it's not an easy process, but the thing is, breadcrumbs are there for people to follow. And it's not a lot of the breadcrumbs that have been around are gone. It's hard to find them again. They're archived in some areas. Some people, the thing is, a lot of people just keep going. They just keep adding on to the breadcrumbs and update everything and realize that people in the past have been trying to tell people this for a long time, and people have never really listened. And the thing is, it's going to continue. Everybody finds what's going on sooner or later, or they don't. And when they do, they have people to just where they can rely on. It may be someone who has millions of views to hundreds of thousands to thousands, or just a few hundred, or even just not even 100. But it's going to be out there waiting for them. And I think what's great, what's important in this digital age is that you can't really go out to one of those old bookstores anymore. All those bookstores have been bought out, not or they've lost money, they've gone away. So all the stuff that has been in print is not really accessible. It's not easy to get, but it's also hard to share that anyways, just because you've got a book and you're gonna either have to read it or present to it, screenshot it, I don't know, and present it digitally. But I think what's great now is that there is a lot of that going on. I mean, platforms, I think what gets people is when they get censored. I mean, nothing gets people riled up more than when people tell them to shut up or to or they're just stop what you're doing or whatever, and they're just forced to listen to some form of authority, which there is no authority that could tell you to be a slave. And it's they'll go to other platforms, and that information is in other platforms. I mean, YouTube is just maybe this last decade or two, and it's going to be the next decade or two. It's going to be some other platform. You know, MySpace was really big, and then Facebook got really big, and you know, it's just going to be the next thing, and it just transitions. And what's good is if there isn't a monopoly, and a lot of technology changes, and it's just spreading the field. I mean, I would love it. And you know, they always interrupt me on YouTube. They don't really allow me to live stream on Facebook on my own account. So it shows you something about Facebook, and then it shows you on something about on YouTube, where a lot of my videos aren't public, or they're demonetized. And but you know, my videos still exist on LBRY now. They exist on this other platform, which pretty much caches everything in. So that's, let's see, what is that? BitChute. So I mean, those videos are there. I think my kids, whether they like me or not in the future, I won't know. But they have their own minds, then they have their own minds. That's a good thing, because if I followed the footsteps of my father, then I would be not a good person. So having my own, being my own self is, I'm glad for that. So if my kids have their own mind, I'm glad for it too. They don't have to follow in my footsteps.
Right. I mean, you're giving them a great foundation, I think. I mean, I see that and sense it. So, you know, I just, you know, ecologically, I just, you know, there are alternative methods that we could, you know, we could be the leader of preserving the future, and we're not. And that, to me, is just damn near criminal. And it's for profit. I mean, they're doing it, and they're sucking the resources just for sheer profit, and not, I mean, they don't have, you know, the boomers don't have much longer, so they really don't have, they don't care. You know, and that generation has sucked more out of this planet. I mean, what we're doing to the Amazon right now, I mean, if you look at it, I mean, it's all these look at the autocrats that we have in charge right now, globally. I mean, they're all extreme. You know, nationalistic, and, you know, and it's like when you go out from space and you look, there are no borders. There's no fence, you know, except, you know, the China wall. But look how good that worked out. But, you know, we're one species. We're one race, and that's the human race. And what happens, you know, you can't tell me that those, you know, fires that were burning the oil fields in Kuwait didn't start a lot of the global warming. I mean, I saw it. You know, that we polluted a lot of the atmosphere. And, you know, it's just, we don't treat each other with respect, and it all goes back to because you believe my God's better than your God, and that to me that's the way I see it. I mean, what did Trump? Just I have to say Trump. I gotta say Trump. I mean, that just helps me. It helps me get through. I got a little shrimp with a Trump head on it now. He said he's the chosen one. God chose him.
Yeah.
I mean,
well,
hello. And what did the Cardinal Pell? He's still in jail, thank goodness. He's trying to get out, and they wouldn't let him get out. Thank goodness. I grew up, well, I shouldn't say grew up, because I was young. I was there at like 21. In the tri-state area of Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky. That area.
mm-hmm. It's kind of like
And if
a lot of...
let me say this. If my daughter had done to what she did to that Native American guy, I'd have whooped her ass. But we have lost respect for, everybody's lost respect for each other. I mean, I'm having a hard time now because, like I said, I feel like I am ostracized because of my lack of belief. But I believe in my Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
And, I don't feel, as a veteran especially, I mean, I'm not proud of that fact right now because of the way I'm getting treated for it.
Yeah.
I don't have the same rights as people that are religious. And that's not a free society.
Well, I wouldn't call
But
it...
I'm
Go ahead, sorry.
well, I'm just saying, I mean, I don't get the same benefits. I don't get the same community. I don't get the same, there's fringes to that. There's the connection thing. There's because we are communal kind of people. I mean, this is the most I've been isolated in my whole life, and it's the hardest in this state. And I lived in Turkey for 4 years in a Muslim country, and got along better with them than I do these people here.
Yeah.
But that was before Erdogan. Erdogan's turned it into a theocracy, and they're having a hard time there now too. They just hired in I watch that stuff and try to keep abreast of global, just see how it's changed. I mean, I've just seen the world change to where it's not good because resources are getting scarce.
I think resources aren't ever really going to be scarce. We have a lot of different view things, but that's fine. There's always been a lot of shortages that have been always displayed by mainstream media and governmental sources, yet the resources have never gotten short. There's always the resources available out there, and it just the market fluctuates on that. But I mean, for example, helium is supposedly to be pretty much gone by 2024. I mean, that's 5 years from now. It's all supposed to have drifted out into the vacuum of space. But we're gonna have helium. We're still gonna have helium on Earth, and it's still gonna be pretty cheap. I think it may go up really high for a while, and then something's gonna happen saying, "Oh, we found a new source of helium," and then it's gonna get really cheap. I mean, a lot of this is just kind of premeditated in some ways. But as far as just again community, I mean, we had to find where we can just find people we want to hang out with, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
So-
there are other atheists. There's like 1,100 of us in the state, but we're not an organization, so they just kind of do these little meetups. But I just don't want to travel.
What about like a Universalist
just-
Unitarian church? Usually they're pretty open.
Oh no, thank
No?
you. No, no, baby. I mean, look, I've studied. I think atheists are more read in Bibles and in religions than religious people are. And
Well, yeah.
my life experiences have made me question. And it just. And, I mean, look, if you can prove it, I would love it. Prove it to me. But I cannot. I can't.
Take ayahuasca.
Be.
Take it 3 times. If you want,
I don't think it's legal in Alabama, baby.
I think you've done a lot of things
good
that
grief.
aren't legal in Alabama, and you've still done it.
They'd
So-
put me under the jail if I brought that shit in this state. Who knows? I mean, I'd have to do it. There ain't no way I'd get it around here, though. I mean, what? Why, what? That it won't happen here. I did kava when I went to Bali, and I got sicker than hell.
Well, ayahuasca, you're gonna be as sick as ever. Yeah, but it only lasts for an hour or so.
That's why I can't drink either. I can't take it.
Well, it's a purging. It's you're gonna vomit, you're gonna diarrhea, you're gonna pee, but the experience, I think you'll have a different outlook on things. It still won't be proof. You just know what it isn't. You just know what things aren't. And that's going to confuse you a bit, but then you're going to understand, and then you're going to be like, wow, how did all of this kind of happen? And I knew it was going to happen, or I didn't know it was going to happen, but I was shown that it was going to happen. It's trippiest experience ever, and it's one of those things where you don't want to take ayahuasca after the first time, or after the second time. Second time is a hard trip. The third trip is also hard, but you need to do it with someone that you can trust, and I think that's the hard thing. Getting ayahuasca and preparing it isn't the hard thing, but having someone there with you when you're going through it that you trust is probably something that's going to be hard, because you're gonna have
So
to.
you're telling me that you did ayahuasca and you Jesus told you that he was real?
It wasn't Jesus. So the first trip is
Oh.
about who you are. The second trip is about who you aren't, and the third trip is about who everyone is, in a way. It's nothing. There's a lot of, like, when I say I'm a follower of Jesus or Yeshua, it's of his teachings. And I always say I'm not a Christian.
They're good rules. They're good rules. Absolutely, it's a good set of rules, because back 2,000 years ago, we were fucking barbarians. We needed some guidance. God damn it. We're bad now. Did you imagine if we didn't have any rules? And we didn't threaten people with fucking dying because you're going to... But come on. Every religion is misogynistic. As a woman, I'm less than a fucking man. You can kiss my ass for that shit.
Well, that's
y'all wouldn't
organized
be
religion.
here if it wasn't for me.
Oh, that's organized religion.
We can have y'all. We can freeze y'all and have y'all, but y'all can't survive without us.
Organized
And this is
religion-
what I would freak my Muslim friends out. I'm like, the only reason why y'all are covering these women up is because you're scared of them.
No. Well, yes. They're scared of being tempted by women. At least the men are. That's why they cover them up. the
Because they can't control themselves.
well, yeah,
And that's not a woman's fault.
yeah, it's not. Now there's the Quaker religion where you've got equality between men and women. You've got Taoism and Buddhism, which is also similar. Buddhism, not quite, because Buddhism has it that you can't reach nirvana or the ultimate Buddhism until you're a man, but that's not quite right because there are some like variations on it. Maybe more Hinduism, where you do transcend. You not really. It's not really. Well, I guess you could call it transcendence, but it's basically women can become the same as men into that higher state type of thing, the nirvana. But it's again a lot of things where it has organizations or it has rituals and things like that, has dogma. Those are things where it's going to be controlled in a way to control others, and that's not where you're going to find how things really are.
Yeah, I don't need some ghost or somebody. I know in my heart and in my mind when something's not good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think when you're brought up, knowing right from wrong. I mean, it's good and bad. I mean, instead of saying things are evil, I tend to use the word nefarious because it takes that fairiness out of it. I'm not a good debater, and I've listened to all these guys, the atheist spirit. I mean, I can't argue atheism and religion. I really can't, but I just know in my heart that this country girl knows and watches nature, right? And in nature, there's good and bad. I mean, mice are cute, but my cats will eat the shit out of them.
Yeah, this morning there's a little stray kitten that was ran over by a car at the school, the elementary school, as I was picking up my daughter, and it was twitching and bleeding, and it was just lying there. And so no one else was doing anything about it. I was just wanting to make sure if it was if I took it to the vet, if it lived, but it was pretty much dead. But I got in my trunk, I have these latex gloves for when I go fishing, and the water's not very good. So, and I'm gonna handle like worms or whatever. But I also have like a trash bag, so I picked the kitten up. And well, the point of it is that kitten shouldn't have been strayed, so somehow it got lost from its mother. It was really small. It wasn't like newborn, but it definitely couldn't survive on its own. So, it's kind of a bad situation for the kitten. It would have probably starved to death somehow. But getting run over and dying that way kind of cut it short. I mean, it's hard to see that like this suffering is something that we don't want to see, especially for something that's like newborn. And even though it dying like that is a bad thing, in certain context, it was better than having it starve to death on its own without its mother to look after it or someone else to look after it. And things are like that happen all the time. And I think like the evil thing, no one does evil for evil's sake. I mean, there isn't someone that goes out there is like, what can I do that's evil? And I'll do that. They're not going to survive very long. They're going to have some, it's usually just called a vice, right? Something that's frowned upon by many, who basically you wouldn't want them to do it to you in certain ways type of thing. But that's where people get into this little trouble. We call it evil because it's not a good thing, but again, I think nefarious is a good term for it. I think the idea of good and evil is again more organized religion. It's more good versus nefarious or bad. It's but it's in it's
Bad,
not. I wouldn't
exactly.
say it's. There are some things that are that you can say are evil, but I don't think that many people do it for just the sake of evil, but they get something out of it that's very materialistic. Not material as in
Well, I mean, we've been conditioned. I mean, look at the OMG. Oh my God. I mean, it's just so conditioned. Or Jesus Christ, it's just something that we're just conditioned for. We're indoctrinated into this line of thinking, and it's hard to break those things. I still say it all the time. I mean, and it's hard to break, but when you step out, when you step out of this country and you go to another country. I mean, I went to Thailand and spent 21 days for my R&R, and just, I mean, they did it right. I mean, if I did anything, it'd be, what's that, Hindu? Are they Hindu there?
no, they're
Or
Muslim.
Buddhist? What are they?
They're Muslim.
No, they're Buddhist. No,
Oh
the
wait,
big
Thailand.
dude, the big fat dude.
Yeah, never mind. Well, Thailand is Buddhist. Yeah, sorry. I was
Buddhist,
thinking
Buddhist.
of.
So,
I
I
was
mean,
thinking of
the
Indonesia.
women, they had this big water festival, and I mean, we had water fights, and I mean, it was, but you go to Phuket and you go down this, you got debauchery like you wouldn't believe down there, prostitution and everything else. But you go up in the mountains and it's just beautiful. And I mean, it's just, they have somewhat of a culture. We don't have a culture here. We shop. We're consumers here, and it just, besides down here in hunting. People hunt down here, and that's where I live, and I've made friends with the natives, and I look after their camp, and they don't shoot my horse. So it's
I don't
just, I
think any
miss
hunters
that
would shoot
kind of
horses.
experience.
But yeah,
Oh, well, no, I had to report they shoot cows with arrows.
that's a little
Yes,
odd.
hell they do. Look.
Yeah, I mean,
You ride down some of
there's
these dirt roads down here, baby, and I'm telling you, these people ain't been out the county,
Yeah, no,
and that's the
I
way they
understand.
like it. And they come from this. You're talking about wanting to change. They don't want to change, and it's like they don't realize how we are connected.
Well,
And I think,
they won't realize until it's too late. But then it's too late.
yeah.
But again, it's a choice everyone has to make, and that's the unfortunate aspect of things. But it's also fortunate because it's like one man's trash is another man's treasure type of thing. One person is seen to be doing something, and people see just kind of the way things are, the way the aftermath is, how it affects others, and people see that, people notice it, and they go, "That's not what I want." They see something else, like, "Huh, that'd be nice." But if I have to do all that stuff, no, that's not what I want. Eventually, people find out what they want. They realize that's.
And
They
that's,
just live that way.
I mean, I'm lucky. Like I said, I don't think if I hadn't have made the kind of moves that I made with introducing myself and keeping. I mean, I don't have a smartphone. I don't.
Yeah.
I say that talking and us having a conversation. I mean, unfortunately, I don't know why people won't join in the conversation. I don't know if I'm. That's what I'm saying. I feel like I'm toxic because
No, you're not toxic.
the way that I look at life is, I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to be that way, but I am, and I can't change. But I feel like
Don't be
if people would be more like me, Earth would be a nicer place to be, and it wouldn't be as much suffering as there are. I mean, it's a sad state. If we were to treat each other decent, I think it would be a better place. Just because, to do it just because. Because we should. Hint, hint, hint. We heard that before, right? Because we should. We should treat people good. But I don't know. You know, I don't have to have the belief in an afterlife to get somewhere that's better than here, because I like it here. There's some really cool places and really cool things to do on this planet. And we are a planet. And we're very unique in that stance that we were lucky enough to have evolved to be who we are, but I feel like we are devolving. Mm-hmm. And I don't like it. And it's instead of moving forward, we're moving backwards. And that's not healthy for our species.
Well, don't worry about it in the big picture of things, because we're not going to change things in the big picture of things, the big scheme of things. But
I got friends all over the world.
Yeah, I know.
You know, I've got Afghan friends. I mean, I do think about it globally, because I think if I didn't, nobody else would.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
And nothing would change.
I mean, we all have to put our foot down somewhere, right? And someone says, don't put your foot there. It's like, well, I've got nowhere else to step. So you have to make that choice. You can listen to the person saying you can't step there, or you can step there because there's nowhere else to step. You know, it's that concept. You don't have to believe in what comes after. I think a lot of people are kind of missing the point. And that's what sin means in Greek, is to miss the point. It's a hamartia. And people got the whole idea of sin wrong, but that's beside the point. That's the whole point of the misdirection and the lies and the control system. But look, it didn't matter what happened before you're born. It's not going to matter what happens after you're dead. What matters is now. I think people will realize that in the end. And if you live according to just like the material world, you go, okay, I know, I'm just going to live in the system. I'll save up money. I'll retire when I'm either 62 to 72, whatever, collect Social Security, etc. I'll move there. I'll live this way. You know, and they live entirely until they miss out on everything that really mattered in a way that they wanted to live. And they find out too late, well, they can't live the way they want to live. They're a little bit too old. They can't do things when they're young and all this other stuff. The world's also a different place than they know of, so they have to rely on others a little bit more. And then by just kind of neglecting others during their life, they realize, oh, I neglected others, so there's no one to really take care of me now. So it all kind of ends up in that same mix near the end. But anyways.
Yeah, everyone that I've ever talked to right before death it's always, I just wish I had more time. Because, I mean, snap, that's gone. We're never getting it back. Mm-hmm. That's gone. We're never getting it back. Mm-hmm. And I've never forgot that. I mean, if there was anything, it would be, to not waste time. My mom did a cross stitch. I'm looking at it right now. It says, do you love life? If so, then do not waste time, for that is what life is made of. And she cross-stitched that in 1970. Yeah, she cross-stitched it. Yeah, that's the only thing I have of hers, too. So, but, I'm glad I didn't live my life like my mom. My mom had concrete shoes on. And she lived in a time when women didn't have a choice. I mean, she was the first generation of women that went into the workforce, right? And for a long time there, she was the major breadwinner. And, became an alcoholic. And that's, I'm old, so I mean, back in those days, it was a different time, and I don't know. But we're handing them out more now, left and right, with pharmaceuticals, which is that's by design. And nobody's getting, they're not. Well, I think there's some people that are trying to sue them. District attorneys are going after them, but it's just sad. It's just sad what we allow, for a free marketplace. That's public good.
Well, the free market isn't free. They just call it a free market.
Well, just capitalism. I mean, it's so exploitative.
Yeah,
when it's just about the bottom line, and return on investment, and it all, it's just wrong. It's just wrong.
Well,
We've got the most unhealthy society right now. Depressed, unhealthy, physically. I've never seen as many out of shape people. Whew. I mean, it's no wonder that people ain't going to march. They can't. They can't get off the damn couch.
Ouch, Mia.
Am I lying? Oh, I don't know where you live, but I tell you what, out here, buddy, they ain't going nowhere without a remote.
Yeah.
Or a little electric car.
Yeah, I think,
It's the worst I've ever experienced it. I'm just not going to lie about it. I don't lie.
Yeah.
And people don't want to, good griefus.
I mean, it's tough. I mean, even me, I consider myself out of shape. And too many, they go, what? Are you kidding me? No.
No. Well, we were ex-military, right? And I'm out of shape. Past 2 years, I've been homebound, and I'm not as active as I was, but I still can wear my clothes from, years and years and years ago. But and that's what I'm saying. It's like we have we have no mental health in this country. I mean, it's give them a pill. I mean, children that are, hyperactive, we used to go play outside. Go play outside is what they used to tell us. Just go outside and play. But now, here, take this pill.
Yeah. It's getting close to the 3-hour mark, Mia. I just getting a little restless.
Yeah, I'm tired too.
I mean, it's a good talk.
All right, baby.
All right.
Yeah, thanks for talking.
No problem. I'm just glad you came on. Otherwise, it's just me talking for about half an hour to an hour and then going, good night.
All right, darling. Well, it was good talking to you. Sorry, chatters. I didn't mean to burn your ears.
No, that's
so
good.
Thanks for listening.
No, I'm glad you're on. And there's a lot of good points that you bring up. And but I think the most important part is you're honest with yourself. So I think that's where we need to start. And
yeah. Well, thanks for being you, baby.
Thanks for being you too.
You take care, and one day I'll figure out how much to get much bandwidth as you do. So.
Yeah, it's hard. I have a friend of mine who's just living out kind of almost off grid, but not really quite. But yeah, his bandwidth is like 200 megabits per second, which is not a lot. In this day and age. Yeah. So it's tough. You would think that with our technology and our infrastructure that the US would be much better in terms of infrastructure as far as internet bandwidth than European or Asian countries. We're way behind as far as the United States.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, we need more people like you, baby, and the guys in the chat. So take care, everybody, and aloha.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
All right.
See you guys tomorrow. Or actually,
Ciao
I may
for
not
now.
be around tomorrow, but on Monday, definitely, for sure. And Monday will be a fishing talk, so you may not have much for that.
Yeah. All right, baby. We'll see you later.
See you.
Night.
Good night, everybody. Good night.